All right, well, thank you everybody for coming. My name is Christy Mahon. I am with Dream Vacations. You can find me at escapeartistholidays.com. For those of you who have been on our weekly presentations before, welcome. For those of you who are new, I'm so glad you've joined us. Tonight we are traveling to Croatia and other countries along the Adriatic coast. I am joined by April Martinez of Colette Vacations. I'm so happy she's here. She's going to talk to us quite a bit tonight. But like I said, these are part of our We Will Travel Again events. While travel is paused right now, I'm hoping that you, along with me, are all dreaming of a time when we can travel again. I know I am eagerly anticipating booking my next vacation. My problem is I can't choose too many good choices. So it's in that spirit that I'm bringing to these presentations along every week, going somewhere just different. You can always visit this URL right here and see what's coming up. Later this week, we're going to do Scotland and Greece on a double header on Thursday night. And then in a couple of weeks, April, we'll be back and we're going to talk about Northern Lights countries. That's Iceland and Norway and Finland. That will be a very fun night as well. So we've got lots of stuff happening. And of course, like I said, while we're waiting for travel to start, we're dreaming about travel. So I want to welcome you all tonight, and I definitely want to welcome April. Thank you so much for being here, April. It's such a treat to have you.
Thank you for having me, Christy. I'm really excited about doing this and just getting people excited about traveling again.
Exactly. I mean, Croatia is such an intriguing destination. You know, it's kind of like on people's lips. And I think part of it is because it hasn't become an overly commercialized tourist destination. Right. So it still retains a lot of its old world charm in ways that some other more typical places in Europe have kind of already lost. So it's definitely not your first trips to Europe kind of destination. But for those of you who have been to Europe already, or you want to try to do something a little more enriched, a little deeper dive, like off the beaten path, this is the place. So I'm going to turn it over to you, April, and let you take it away.
Okay. Let me share my screen with everyone.
There you go.
Oops. Can everyone see my screen?
Looks great.
Okay. Let me just get right back to the beginning. Hold on. Alrighty, so let's do it from here. Okay. Everyone can see this just fine?
So far, I see you.
Okay. And you see embrace the freedom of touring?
Not yet.
Oh. Let me try to do it one more time. Thank you for your patience. Okay, share screen.
Ta-da!
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I am really happy to be here to be talking about travel. It's not just my job, but it truly is my passion. I love going to different states, different countries, and just learning about the culture and the people and the food and the history and everything about it. So tonight, I'm going to give you a little background on Colette for those of you who aren't familiar with us. And then I am going to go into some of the incredible tour options that we have for this beautiful destination. Now, Colette is actually the oldest tour company in the world. So we are a family-owned company that's been around 102 years. And what we really like to specialize is giving people an immersive experience. So when they go to these destinations, they are not only going to see the top sites, they're also going to get amazing little off the beaten path, hidden gem experiences, an incredible tour guide that is trained by Colette with locals coming on at different times where you don't have to worry about anything at all. Everything is handled for you. Of course, you will always have free time on our tours as well, and you'll have your tour manager there that can help guide you or book anything for you. So with Colette, we always stay at 4+ star accommodations that we conveniently have located, either city center, or if you're going to be out in the country, we'll actually have you staying in a villa or vineyard, whatever it may be. Your baggage will be handled. So that's one less thing you need to worry about. You also are going to have an incredible cultural experiences where you are interacting with the locals, and we'll get into that a little bit on our tours. As I mentioned, expert local guides, unparalleled sightseeing, any of the extras that you are thinking about, worrying about fees or prices to get into things, all of that is taken care of. And you'll, of course, be on a very comfortable motor coach. Now, I know this is a concern for everyone, especially with what's going on right now. So I just want to kind of nip this in the bud and answer all of your questions ahead of time. So we are taking the proper steps for your health and safety in very close regulation with CDC. We have smaller groups that are on tour with social distancing. All of the tour managers have been highly trained in handling illness or emergencies. We do, masks actually are in our little final documents that they give you now. So there's a lot of different procedures that we are taking on tour to ensure the safety of all of the travelers. And believe it or not, we actually have started touring already, and the feedback that we have gotten from our travelers is that they felt completely safe and comfortable, and it did not interfere with the experience of the tour at all. Cancellation policy is another big thing. So we want our travelers to understand that they have options. There's plenty of flexibility. With everything going on right now, and not knowing when certain places may open, it's always important to plan for the future, but you want to also make sure, just in case something does happen, that you have options to choose from. So, God forbid any tour were to be canceled, our travelers will have the option of rebooking at a later date. That would be completely price protected, insurance moved over. 105% voucher of the total cost of the trip, so this is not monies paid, or a full cash back refund. So again, don't feel nervous to potentially book something in the future because you don't know what's going to happen. You are absolutely covered. For those of you who don't know my background, I actually was a travel agent. So I highly, highly recommend going to Christy, because she is going to be up to date on everything. Any sales, any promotions, any wellness procedures. This is the professional. So if you're hesitant about whether you should go to a travel agent or not, I can guarantee you that they have so much value besides just not having to worry about doing things yourself. They are the experts. Now, what sets us apart from the other vendors out there? Pacing is huge for us. we are not one of those companies that's gonna, an hour here, an hour there, or one night. It's so overwhelming, and you really cannot truly sit down and enjoy the area that you're in if you're constantly being bussed. We want to make sure that people are fully immersed and they have the time to enjoy it. So you'll notice a lot of 2, 3, 4 nights that we have in our itineraries. The only time we do one night is if it's necessary, if there's a large distance to cross, or maybe to make it more convenient for departure. So we also have a impact moment. So I'm going to get into that a little bit on the next slide, but impact moments are really where you get to make a difference in the community that you're visiting. So we work with a lot of nonprofits where you can be going to a restaurant or doing an activity that's giving back to the community in some way. We also love to offer choices, and these are included choices on tour. So we give people the option of how they'd like to spend their afternoon, or maybe where they want to eat at a local restaurant for dinner. So all of these options are, again, included. So Colette's social responsibility. We really do focus on community, travel, and the planet. Anything we can do to reduce our carbon footprint, the better. So we have been working with a lot of different organizations on many of our tours to give people not only the sites and the tourist things, but so that they feel connected to the community that they're in. So we work to really sustain these cultures and traditions, and we want to positively impact them as we come through and learn about their lives and their past stories.
That's a very, very special aspect that's, I think, truly unique to Colette. I'm glad you highlighted that.
Yeah, it's something that matters a lot to me outside of Colette. I actually have my own nonprofit organization. So being in the travel world, there's a lot of talk about, people that come through or destinations that are very highly visited. And even though they rely on tourism, it's almost detrimental to the area, the way that it's affected. So when you're coming in and you're working with the people and you're making a difference in their community in a positive way, and it empowers not only them, but it empowers you as travelers as well. So I am going to get into the best part of tonight, and that is going into the tours. The first one is absolutely incredible. So it is Croatia and its islands. And this one actually features a luxury yacht that was created just for Colette that you get to be on for a good amount of nights on this. So just very quickly, tour at a glance, you can see that you start off inland, and as you work through, you're going to get to the coastline. At that point, you're going to switch over to your luxury yacht, and you get to enjoy the islands as well as some of the port cities. Okay, so this is where we start, and it is actually the capital of Croatia. So that is Zagreb, and it is the largest city in this country. So you truly just step right into history and culture the second you go in here. And I feel like a lot of people may misunderstand Croatia. I mean, when I look at this, it almost looks like Vienna to me. So it has so many cathedrals, and you'll hear me talk about this all night. I'll say UNESCO World Heritage Site. Pretty much every place you go to here is going to be a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So I'm gonna go fairly quickly through some of these slides just because I want everyone to really be able to see all the amazing places that we'll be traveling. All right. This is one of the theaters that is there that you will be going to as well. And this is a absolutely beautiful cathedral. In another slide, I show the inside of it. When you're in Europe, and for those of you who are used to traveling in Europe, you know that every 2 feet, there's one cathedral after another that's just more beautiful than the last one you just saw. All right, this food, the food here that you experience on this tour is absolutely amazing, and they focus on farm to table, or what we call garden to table. So a lot of the food here, again, Colette really likes to pull you out of eating in the hotels, immerse you in the culture, go to the local restaurants or people's homes and really enjoy traditional Croatian food, which is, you know, a classical Mediterranean diet.
Now you're speaking my language.
I know, I can't get enough of the food, so trust me, you won't either. It's just so, so good, and it's so fresh. The cheeses and the breads and the wine. So this is Krka National Park, and the 2 national parks with the waterfalls that are there, one is showcased on either tour I'm going to show you tonight, and they are breathtaking. It is absolutely amazing. They have these waterfalls that are just these dramatic gorges, and it's just incredible that a place like this even exists on Earth. So I had to throw in a few pictures of it. All right, now you will have an option to actually take a boat ride along the river down to Skradin. Now, some of these things that are outdoor will be weather permitting. You then get to go to Split. Now, Split is actually one of the oldest cities in that whole region there, and it's the 2nd largest city in Croatia. So its history, really, it dates back from the Roman empires through the Middle Ages. It is truly an ancient place. And again, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site where you'll be visiting the Emperor Diocletian's palace. So this is the palace, and you get to actually go into the lower levels of this structure. So there's lots of mystery and folklore behind it. So it's really exciting to kind of see behind the scenes of it all. What I mentioned to you before, your choice on tour. So this is something, again, that is included, that you will get to spend how you want to spend the day or the afternoon. So we have the oldest museum in Croatia, which is the Archaeological Museum, or you get to go to Mestrovic's gallery, and there is the artist's sculptures and drawings and architecture. So again, 2 different options that you can choose from. Now, here is your yacht. It is a 4-star yacht that you will be boarding with 18 luxury cabins in it. And that's where you're going to be spending your next 7 nights. So on this beautiful ship, you will be having your welcome dinner. So your welcome dinner with the captain is going to have live traditional Croatian music, and it's just a fun, festive way to start your night on the ship. After that, though, you're actually only going to be having breakfast and lunch on the ship, which, by the way, is fresh from the local markets every single day. So the cuisine is going to change based on the city or town that you guys are in. And then at night, it actually goes ashore for you to enjoy dinners at the local restaurants at your leisure. Trogir. This is just, if you can imagine Venetian architecture, because actually at one point, Venice did own this area. We will stop here. You'll have the option to go for a quick swim before you get to enjoy this town, which is so beautiful and quaint and charming. So this little village is called Bol, and it is on the picturesque island of Brac. I mean, it's, these pictures, they don't even do it justice, but the whole place, everywhere you go, it's so magical. It's like walking through a fairy tale or a scene from a movie. It's absolutely stunning. And this Golden Beach, also known as the Golden Cape, is actually one of the most popular beaches in Croatia. So a lot of people want to just, on their free time, their free days, they go here, they veg out, they soak up the sun, and they just enjoy living a Mediterranean life, which is where I wish I was right now.
Yeah.
So
Look
you
at
get
the water. Oh my gosh.
it is absolutely crystal clear. It truly is. People think that, you know, you only get this type of water in the Caribbean, but that is not true. It is the beautiful turquoise waters here. Even inland, when you go to the different waterfalls, it is absolutely stunning. So this is the sunny island of Var, and you get to do a really beautiful, unique experience here because you go to the lavender fields. And I'm a big essential oil user, so I was really excited when I saw this. But if you weren't calm enough on this trip, you get to immerse yourself in these beautiful lavender fields. You get to learn about how the region grew this for centuries and really take a closer look at that custom there. So Basivo is another island that you will stop at. And the reason why is because it is home to the Blue Cave. So the Blue Cave is this stunning grotto that the water actually glows. Now this is your next stop. And this is really unique because it's pretty much untouched by tourism. And it just has these overflowing of Renaissance architecture and, just like the rest of the country, beautiful beaches. And there's a little fun fact about that town, speaking of walking through a scene of a movie. So for anyone who has seen the second Mamma Mia, it was actually filmed in that town. And you get to walk those streets, which is very exciting. Now, this little village here is Korčula. Korčula is actually known as Little Dubrovnik. So the reason why this island became so famous is it was the alleged area where Marco Polo was born and lived. And I say alleged because it was never truly figured out where that was. So this is his alleged home you'll get to visit. And then we take you to yet another national park. So Mayet National Park, you'll have the option to swim in these crystal blue waters. And you get to stroll around all of the lakes. So there's many different lakes there, small and large. And it's actually also home to a Benedictine monastery from the 12th century that you'll get to visit. So here is yet another quaint port town. So this is not a village, but again, you'll be taking the yacht going down the coastline of the country. until you finally get to Dubrovnik. This is the pearl of the Adriatic.
Truly.
It has these ancient, just medieval stone walls that go around the entire city. The Baroque architecture, the rooftops. I mean, when you think of the Mediterranean, whether you know it or not, you're thinking of Dubrovnik. And between the waters, the beaches, the winding cobblestone streets, it's as if you're truly stepping back in time. I'm just gonna play a quick video for you guys.
It's so stunning. Unfortunately, I can't hear what she was saying.
Oh, you couldn't hear it?
No, but the pictures spoke for themselves. That was nice.
Okay. It was just reiterating everything that I just went over. The fact that Croatia may not be top on everyone's list, but it really should be, because it is just an amazing place to soak up the history, the culture, the food, the people. And the people, they're so proud of their heritage too, and they just want to share it with you. So I'm going to go into another tour that we have. So this one is not on a yacht, but it does go deeper into the land portion of Croatia, and you get to actually go to Slovenia as well. Okay, so you will start in Zagreb, and just so you guys know, this is actually a 7th century city. Of course, it's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site too. The welcome dinner here, again, is fresh local cuisine that we'll have at a local restaurant as you get to know all of your fellow travelers. This is one of the Franciscan monasteries that are there, but the reason why this one is really important is because it actually has the oldest pharmacy in all of Europe, which is exciting. They have Rector's Palace, the city walls. I mean, there's so much to see in this town, and you will have your guided tours as well as free time to learn about it on your own.
It really does show the fact that if any of you guys have seen Game of Thrones, this is so much where they did so much of the filming they did in Croatia. So some of it even looks familiar if you've ever seen the TV show.
Yeah.
Those street scenes and stuff. I mean, it really is like disappearing into another time, because so much of it retains its old charm, like you're saying, April. It really is that medieval town, that all those narrow winding streets and cobblestones and all that. It's beautiful.
Yep. And if you ever look into like the making of Game of Thrones, and there wasn't much they needed to do. Like the set, this is the set. I mean, it's just, that's why they chose it, because there wasn't really modern anything there. So
Right.
This is another option where you get to choose how you want to spend your day. So you could do the city walls, which for those of you who don't know, the city walls have some really incredible history that the local guide will go into. Also, you'll be able to walk on top of them where there's incredible views. So those of you who are really into photography, I would highly recommend that one. And the Adriatic cruise, I mean, this one is a longer one. The Dubrovnik city one allows free time to walk around, but it is just one of those things where you get to have, to me, it felt like an out-of-body experience where you just didn't feel like you were really there. It just was so picturesque. Now, the meals here, you will actually be with a local family. So they have a family-owned place, and you get to learn about their history, their personal history. You get to sample regional wines. That's a big deal, by the way. Everywhere you go, they're going to give you wines to sample. And you will have your feast this evening will actually be in the same way that their ancestors prepared the food. Now, you have a day at leisure, and I will say on a lot of our tours, we have maybe one or two at the very most where we give an optional excursion to purchase. And this is in place of your free time. So I'm just going to briefly explain this one, and that way you can get a general idea on what they are. So this one option, of course, you can spend the day exploring Dubrovnik, or you will embark on a culinary excursion where you get to actually meet an oyster farmer, and he will take you on a boat ride through his family's oyster farm. So you stop at a floating bar in the middle of the bay, and you sample more local wines, of course, but they pair them with oysters and mussels that they're literally taking out of the sea right there in front of you. And then from there, you go to a winery, and I believe it was 4 or 5 wines that they have you try from the region. And you'll actually travel to the family's home where they produce olive oil, and you get to try a little bit of that too, of course. And they offer you fresh vegetables straight from their garden, and you get to, again, hear about more Croatian music. And of course, while you're having lunch with this amazing family, they're going to give you more wine. Just in case you didn't have enough wine that day, with everything that you did, you'll end it with some more wine before you get to go back to Dubrovnik.
I suspect that's a rather popular excursion.
Yes, it is. It pretty much starts you off with wine and oysters for breakfast, and then you just go from there. All right, now you get to go to Split, just like on the last one as well. And because some of these places overlap, I'm not going to go as deep into them as I did before. But this is the Temple of Jupiter. Okay, this next one's my favorite. I'm very excited. So, the Plivice Lakes. I feel like I should just give a moment of silence to this picture because it is so stunning. This is one of the oldest and largest, and by far most beautiful, national parks in Croatia. So it actually has 16 turquoise lakes that are interconnected by a series of waterfalls. And obviously, it is one of Croatia's top attractions. So we, of course, will be taking you there. And there's actually little paths and wooden walkways that are flat, believe it or not, that you can walk right through all of this. See, there you go. Okay. This is what Croatia calls their Riviera. So it's the largest peninsula in the Adriatic, and it actually was the summer retreat for Caesar and the Habsburgs, if anyone's familiar with them over in Austria. So they used to come here to vacation. Now, the Istrian Peninsula is really, really unique because it has a lot of Italian and Croatian influences, but believe it or not, it's such a small strip of land, but it's actually partially owned by Croatia, partially owned by Slovenia, and then a little sliver of it is owned by Italy. And this one tiny little thing, you can just hop from country to country. So this trip would not be complete without going to a local distillery where the owners actually use regional plants and fruits and herbs, and they make brandies and snacks and other treats that you'll get to see and try. So this is yet another farm to table dinner that you will sample regional wines, of course, and culinary delicacies that are specific to the Istrian Peninsula. Ljubljana, so you get to go to Slovenia, and it's just a continuation of the beautiful architecture and history and the stunning views of nature that are here as well. It is the capital city, and you'll see that it truly does capture that Renaissance era. And here is one of those places where you'll actually meet your local expert guide, and they'll take you through all these little towns, and it's just so perfect. It's nestled on the riverbank. It's beautiful. This is the Cathedral of St. Nicholas, and I feel like a lot of them are very deceiving on the outside, and then you walk in and it's just a work of art, truly. So you not only get to go there, but you get to go to Lake Bled, and you will experience a ride on the Pletna boat. So that's what you see right there, and you get to go to a little island right in the middle of the lake that just looks like it popped right up. And that's St. Mary's Church and the wishing bell that's there. So believe it or not, people do live there, but it's an itty bitty little island in the middle of Lake Bled. And of course, you get to finish in the beautiful Dubrovnik. And this tour in particular actually gives you the option of going on a Christmas market during the Christmas market time. So in Ljubljana, they actually have these Christmas markets. So for those of you who aren't familiar with that, or maybe you've been to them in New York, this is very, very big in Europe, and a lot of local artists come out, and you can get some really unique, like hand-carved, handmade items there, and they go all out for the holidays. So this is like a middle of November to the end of December experience there. You can also add Montenegro on. So this is, all these countries there are very similar in their style and feel when you go there. I feel like Montenegro has a little bit more of these like quirky little villages that are underneath these towering mountain ranges, and again, just glittering shorelines. So it is really, really nice to add this little trip on, an extension, because I mean, I wouldn't be able to get enough of it. So now this last one that I'm very briefly going to talk about, because it is so new, we don't even actually have any slides on it yet, but is our Balkans tour. So you get to spend 4 nights in Montenegro, where you start. 3 nights in Bosnia, 5 nights in Croatia, and 2 nights in Slovenia. So this is a much longer tour, and it is one of our explorations tours, which means it's a small groups tour. So never more than 24 people, with a lot more of those off the beaten path, really unique experiences in there. Very quickly, with any of our trips that we have, you can always get sedan service. So Christy will be able to go more into that with you when you book your trip with her. But the sedan service will actually come pick you up right from your house and bring you to the airport. With everything that we have, I mentioned you can always add your pre-nights, your post-nights, tour extensions. Again, Christy is the expert on all of that. With our airfare, of course, comes transportation as well, so you don't have to worry about transfers to and from the airport. Again, we really try to eliminate any worry that you have and be an all-encompassing tour company. Travel protection, I could never emphasize enough. I feel like, especially now, people are realizing why it's important to have travel protection. It's not only just for a cancellation or refund, but I mean, you also just never know what can happen. It's important to plan out. You obviously are going to be planning your trip for maybe a few months from now, or maybe even a year or 2 from now. So you just never know what can happen from now till then. And also, you want to be covered when you are away. So most insurance companies actually don't cover you when you're outside of the country, or definitely not while you're on a ship. So you never know. There's, as you can see, a lot of cobblestone, a lot of uneven ground. People don't look at their itinerary and say, oh, good, I have a free day. I'll twist my ankle this day. You just never know what can happen. Not that I wish that on anyone.
No, but it's bound to happen. I've done it myself.
So I have too. I completely face planted, got my heel. Don't wear heels, by the way.
Don't wear heels or flip-flops.
Don't wear heels. I wore heels. I got it stuck in a cobblestone, and I just like slid out on my face in the middle of a square. So you don't want to do that, but God forbid that does happen. You just want to be prepared. It's one of those things where you hope you don't need, but you have it just in case. You know, lost or delayed baggage, evacuation, but most importantly, medical assistance. For anyone who has traveled with Colette before, we do have a loyalty program. So whenever you do book with us, if your next trip is within 12 months, you get $150 off a person, or $100 off within the next 2 years. So this is Croatia in a nutshell. I hope I didn't put too much information in for you. I really wanted you to be able to feel like you can just jump right into the pictures, taste the food, smell the oysters, and that you will be excited to hopefully one day join us in Croatia. So thank you so much for your time tonight.
April, that was great. Honestly, you know, you're right. There are so many beautiful pictures. You couldn't possibly have taken any of them out.
I know. It was hard. It was very hard trying to do that.
I'm sure. Listen, anybody, if you guys have questions that you want to ask myself or April while we're here, there's a little chat icon on your screen. By all means, hop in there and type in any questions you might have. I have a couple questions I want to ask you that I think are relevant. Is there, to your knowledge, we talked a little bit about cobblestones. You kind of hit it at the end, where, and I talk about this sometimes in some of my other presentations, where are there any parts of the tours themselves that you think don't lend themselves to people who might be a little unsure of themselves? Or is it designed so that it doesn't matter that you're going to be okay on your feet, as long as you're already okay on your feet?
So a lot of the ones that may pose as strenuous, we'll sometimes put as the options. where it'll say, hey, how do you want to spend your afternoon? We're not going to be like, all right, everyone's hiking this mountain. It's like, would you like to hike the mountain, or do you want to sit here and do a wine tasting? So we never want anyone to feel that they are pressured into doing something, and we don't want them to feel that they're not getting their money's worth. Like, oh, I had to sit this out, or I couldn't do this. And so the tour manager is really great with accommodating people as well. So if there is anything that is already included that you don't feel comfortable doing, they will always find a way to accommodate you.
Wonderful. And then when you were talking about the trip with the yacht, you could have said yacht like 10 more times, by the way. Yacht, a yacht. Oh my gosh, a yacht. How many cabins did you say were on the yacht?
18. So
there too, this is a small group. That means that's a maximum of like 36 passengers.
Yes.
So, you know, and not all tours are designed the same way. And I'm glad that you highlighted what makes Colette so unique at the beginning of your presentation. And one of those things is the size of a tour. Some tours can be rather large, 50 or more people. These are not like that. So there's a more personal aspect to it. So when you're traveling around, you can hear your guide, because you're not, 40 people deep trying to hear, strain what's happening, to be heard. And it has that intimate feel too, because of where these tours go, these specific ones, because they're not in hustling, bustling, crowded tourist cities like Paris. Not that Paris is ever really a bad idea, but it does change the experience you have. So taking a tour to a place like Croatia and the Balkan countries changes the pace. You guys are very mindful of the pace, so nobody feels rushed or like, we've got to tick 13 countries off in 10 days. That isn't the kind of experience you're going to have. And I love the fact that it's an intensive, immersive experience, so that you can really enjoy what this country has to offer in a way that is personal. It's and the other things that you were saying about how there's a connectivity to the community, so there's this giving back. Those things are all make travel like this so unique, so very special. So I'm glad you were able to highlight that for us.
Thank you. It is very true. Not all travel is created equal. So many places you may go to the same place. You may have a neighbor that went to the same place, but you guys have a completely different experience. So we do put an emphasis on the culture and even the size. Our standard tours that are not small group, they don't ever fill them to capacity. So like those large buses that hold 52 people, they actually will never sell past 44 people, just to always give people that space and that feeling of, camaraderie amongst each other.
Even before right now, when we're talking about things like social distancing, I mean, that was always the case.
Right, so, exactly.
So, going forward, that number will flex, right? I'm sure that there's going to be some wiggle room in how many people is apropos for a tour anyway.
Well, so right now, with everything that's happening, we actually, on a standard tour, are never putting more than 25 people in a bus.
That's outstanding.
So yeah, before COVID, we never did more than 44, just because we always wanted that, to give people space and don't feel like you're crammed in.
Right.
But yeah, so that could potentially change as we are in communication with the CDC.
Sure. Well, that was fabulous. Let me see if anybody's got any questions. No questions yet. Again, anybody, if you've got questions, just stick them in the old chat box and we will answer them. While you guys are considering everything you've already heard and all these fantastic pictures, I want to thank all of you for attending. And of course, because you've been here and you've given me your time and your patience, and you've gotten a chance to hear all about Croatia and the Balkans from April, I want to offer all of you a little booking incentive. I don't press. It's not my way. But if you are interested in talking to me about traveling with Colette on these trips or other trips, and you're interested, please, by all means, give me a call. Or email me. There's always a way to get a hold of me. These are all my with my website. You can always follow me on social media. And if you haven't already been getting my emails, but you've attended tonight, you will start getting my emails. I usually send out one a week about what promotions are going on in the world, but another one about next week's event. So you'll get a couple of emails from me. I'm not annoying. I don't think I am. Anyway, if you are interested in booking a Colette trip for 21 or 22, and it's of a qualifying length and trip, then I will be offering you a little bitty of a discount, a nice $150 towards your trip. And you can use that in a lot of different ways. You can use it towards, on your trip, or, buy yourself some new suitcase, because I give you a nice gift card for that. So there's a little incentive to give me a buzz sooner rather than later, maybe. And now is also a great time to plan. One of the things that I've been telling some of my clients that are already contemplating travel for 21 and 22 is, if you've got an idea, whether it's about Croatia or somewhere else in the world, let's start talking about it. Because the truth is that once you feel confident that it's time to book, you're going to want to do it right away. And so is everybody else. And right now I have time. I have plenty of time to talk to you guys, because we're all in this pod. April, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
It looks like there's one question that came in from Diane.
Okay.
So, is this area open for tours now? I know no Americans, but are you having tours with European passengers? Oh, thank you, Donna. So you're right, it is not open to Americans now. Colette does actually have offices and headquarters like all over the world. So we're based out of Rhode Island, but we have in Australia and the UK. And to be completely honest, I don't know the laws for every country and where they are allowed in and out. I just am strictly following ours. But I do know that there has been negotiations, and they're in talk of potentially opening this to see how it does. Croatia is actually one of the countries that they're looking at starting to open first before other ones. So hopefully that happens sooner rather than later.
It's true. A lot of the European countries are trying to get on each other's same pages right now, because they want to be able to say we're collectively open for tourism, even though there are pockets of it that are being decided independently. So I was just reading about it yesterday, Monday, actually. So you're absolutely right, April. It's a work in progress, and whether or not there are tours of locals that might be like on the ground, local, smaller companies doing local travel. I mean, we see that here in the States too, right? Like you can travel in your own state here and do things, but
yeah, we actually have started domestic travel back in July already.
Yes, that's right.
So, but yeah, when it comes to flying over there from here, it's not yet permitted. And even people flying not from the United States, but other countries, they still have very strict protocols. So, but this is to get everyone excited because you plan for the future.
Right.
So we started off by telling everyone, there really is no risk to plan and get excited. And, who knows? Nobody knows when these things can lift, and it's in the works, so it could happen very soon. And then you have a trip all ready to go. So
all ready to go. I know, I'm itching to go. And this was so wonderful. I mean, honestly, thank you, April. I mean, it really has moved Croatia up on my list of places to see. I've always been intrigued by Dubrovnik, just partly because it sounds exotic, but also because it's so unusual. I mean, look at this huge medieval city. But the countryside, the beautiful, wow. So many great places. I want to thank everybody who participated tonight. I want to let you all know that I will be following up as usual with an email. Thank you again, April, so very much for tonight's presentation.
Thank you, Christy. I appreciate it.
And hope to see you guys later this week for our Scotland and Greece, or in a couple of weeks, we'll have April back for our Northern Lights itineraries. That's going to be fun too. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Bye-bye.
to